You know, I saw Franco was having a little trouble making the adjustment from Penn State to the Steelers in 1972. I told him, you know, to be a complete ball player, you have to give 100% all the time. If you have the ball or you don't. You run down the field 40 yards and you always break to the ball. You never know what's going to happen. Oh, and when that ball was deflected, I just stood there and smiled. Hey, what are teammates for?
Rocky's a really accomplished after-dinner speaker.
Thank you very much.
So he's comfortable in front of crowds. The challenge is to make the play not an after-dinner speech.
In this case, the play is not the immaculate reception.
And there's a collision. It's caught out of the air. The ball is pulled in by Franco Harris.
But rather, a one-act, one-man, one-night only, 98-minute production at Pittsburgh's most prestigious theater. The play is the Rocky Bleier story, featuring Rocky Bleier.
When you guys first heard that Rocky was going to do the one-man play, what was your thought?
Who's going to be Rocky?
I'd like to think of it as this. I remember after a game, reporters would come up and ask you a question. And I thought, I had answers. This is pretty easy, you know. And I thought, oh, I could be a reporter. I could work for, I could do this on television and so on. Whoa, that's a whole different avenue. You know, it's the same thing here. Giving a speech was one thing, but you're not giving a speech.
Can I say this? Did anybody think for a moment, bad idea? Rocky, you're almost 70 years old. You're doing a one-man play. You're going to have Post-it notes all over the stage or something?
Are you nervous at all to having some of your teammates in the audience?
Nope, because I won't be able to see them. You know, it's kind of like all those years of sitting in the locker room by yourself and mentally going, okay, boop, 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 so you don't make any mistakes because you don't have time to think out on the field and especially on the stage. It's not as if we're doing a run, so you have a chance to make up maybe some mistakes or increase your performance every night. Tomorrow, it's over. Now, if I was thirsty, I'd come to the bar. If I was hungry, I'd come to the bar. If I was lonely, I'd come to the bar. Why? Well, because this was the closest bar to our house. Because this bar was our house. We lived behind the bar, and we slept upstairs.
My other job with Legendary, if somebody came to us with Rocky Bleier's story and screenplay as a piece of fiction, we would probably say that it's too far-fetched.
The Steelers liked me well enough, though, or thought highly of me anyway. I mean, they took me with the 417th pick of the NFL draft that year. I mean,
we all overcome adversity at some point in the NFL, whether it's NFL players' injuries or overcoming someone putting a knock on us saying we're not good enough. But nothing compares to Rocky Bleier.
Thinking to myself, oh, I wonder who sent me a letter. Maybe a Notre Dame fan that wanted an autograph from a former captain. So I searched through the mail and, oh, I came across it. Oh, here it was, my letter. Yeah, it was from Uncle Sam. Oh, my God. Now that was the worst letter I've ever received.
In December 1968, near the end of his first year with the Steelers, Bleier was drafted into the Army and sent to Vietnam.
When all of a sudden I looked up, I saw a grenade come flying through the air. Before I could jump out of the way, it went off. Shrapnel ripped through my right foot.
Part of Bleier's foot was lost. Doctors told him his football career was over. Bleier was determined to return to the Steelers. He began a grueling rehab. In 1970, he was placed on injured reserve. At the start of 1971, he was waived. In 1972, to the astonishment of most everyone, he made the active roster. In 1974, he became a starter and played until 1980. In 1976, he became one of only 5 players to run for over 1,000 yards after the age of 30. But his biggest moment came on January 21st, 1979.
Here's the situation. The game's tied right before the half. The ball's on the 7-yard line. It's 3rd down and 1 yard to go. The play that was called, I would go right down the line of scrimmage. I'd take a 45-degree cut, catch the ball over my shoulder, take a hard 90-degree turn upfield, pick up the first down, maybe 2 yards, maybe 3 yards. But of course, none of that happened. Because when the ball was snapped, I came out of my stance, but my opponent jumped across that line of scrimmage and took my path away from me. The best that I could do was to take a sharp 90-degree turn up the field. And then it happened. Our eyes met. 30 yards separating us. And he released the ball. And I leaped all 5 foot 9.5 inches of me with all my might, straight up in the air as high as I could go. I don't know, 18, 19, 20 feet. I forget. Or as Andy Russell later would estimate, 4 inches. But I threw my hands up and all of a sudden, thunk, the ball stuck. And I was as surprised as anyone.
Bleier's leaping touchdown catch became one of the signature images of the Steeler dynasty. 4 decades later, more than 2,500 people at Heinz Theater rose to applaud another super performance.
The best story Rocky Bleier has is his own story. There are very few stories like it in American history.
It was fabulous.
Yeah,
Yep.
good.
Yep.